Heyo.
Ayo, welcome to Benchwarmers, a Woso podcast, episode 23. We will vamos into the Spanish Football Federation, that is the RFEF, doing the business. They never do the business, but we'll talk about the De La Reina first. The El Clasico de la Reina quarterfinal. I mean,
Jesus.
by the way, remember when we talked about the 2-0 and you were like, this is disappointing. I'm like, and I was like, you know what? It wasn't that terrible. This is why I say it wasn't
can
that
get
terrible.
worse.
This is what I mean. Like, this is what happens when the exact same game happens, but Misa isn't playing out of her skin, right? Because Alexia will punish you. Payor will punish you. Patry will destroy you.
Yeah.
That ball across to Salma
Incredible.
for the third goal is filthy. And then Payor's brace to finish it off with Salma's ball across. It's just too easy for these guys, and they just do it all the time. It's just relentless pounding of attacks. It's varieties of finishes. It's like the Alexia goal is such an easy goal to just look at. Oh, it's just a header. Like, she's run through the whole pack to put that ball in the net, and just like there's so much confidence in the ability for them to score from corners, let alone to score with the ball on the ground. Hold the ball for about an hour and 10 minutes of a 90-minute game. It's absolutely filthy. I don't know if there is much to say, because it felt like it was just a write-off past the Payor second goal and the Patry ball across to Salma for the third.
I thought that this game was, again, as I said last time, indicative of just the stark class difference, the fact that there's an obvious mentality divide between the two teams. But I think Barcelona, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here, but I genuinely think that they've taken Clásicos and have ramped them up to 100. Just looking at the celebrations, looking at how much it means to them. And it's hilarious, because I think that this is, like, since maybe a couple years ago now, this is the most like difference that there is between the two teams. I think
I think it's after the loss. It must have been after the loss. It was like
the
a
loss
big
was
wake
not
up.
like the loss was like what? No, like nearly 12 months ago. Like,
Yeah, no.
not...
But it's like, okay, you beat us. You are now going to lose every.
I can
We're
understand-
gonna
I
start
can
the streak
understand
again.
that.
20. What it's 20. It's now 23 out of 24, right? But they were on a 22 match streak. They lost the streak. It's like imagine losing your Duolingo streak. Imagine losing like your Snapchat streaks with your friends, 1,000 streak. We're going for 1,000 again. We're not. We haven't lost we haven't lost the energy. I think there should be more impetus on Madrid to believe that they can beat them, because it's the same players that have beaten them. But
course,
the reality is that that's your best night and my worst night. And Barca go out into these games going, you know what? Like, we're going to take this girl and we're going to take this girl and we're going to destroy you. We're going to bring out the players that you didn't come up against last time you beat us, and we're going to show you why you won. The only reason you won is because we had the worst night of our institution's life. Like, that is probably the worst. Like, I mean, I would argue that that's probably worse for them, like, from a mental standpoint. Obviously, the final is terrible, and losing the final, but they've lost final. They've lost finals before. They lost against Lyon.
I wasn't even talking about Arsenal's final. I was Lyon.
Yeah.
The game against Lyon, I think, is arguably one of the worst Champions League performances in terms of, like, there was such a stark difference. That, to me, looked like that Lyon Barca game looked like a Real Madrid Barca game, in terms of Lyon looked like Barca and Real Madrid looked like
No, I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
It's a very weird relationship those two teams have with each other. Ultimately, that 4-0 loss, that game, like, that's like the Woso version of, like, when Cruyff lost the Champions League final 4-0. Like, that's how I see it. Is like, that's like this historical moment where Barca were this bad and they'll never be this bad again. But who knows? I feel like there will be a changing of the guard at some point in the future when Woso balances out properly. But I mean, it'll take time, but right now, Real Madrid are packing in sides that are worse than them, and getting packed in by titans that are better than them, and that's what happens.
I agree.
We'll swiftly go around the grounds of the De La Reina. Atletico Madrid did win against Bilbao in a 4-1. Jensen goal, Sarajevi brace, Fiamma Benitez as well, rounding out a much better attacking performance. Still not good possession, but let a few shots go late and the consolation, but overall safe with a full strength squad. What I thought would be safe, especially after they won in the Liga F, but ultimately to no avail against United this morning. And then Sociedad's second squad losing to Levante Badalona in extra time as Pernille scores for Levante in the 113th minute. My goats are only focusing on the Liga F. They're getting top 3. They don't want no Della Reina extra games. You guys don't understand the genius that is the management of Sociedad. The genius plays. Ezeguierre's my goat, but I mean, they played Ezeguierre. She didn't do enough. But I mean, if we're talking about Arturo Ruiz, the genius behind this Sociedad team, I think he's hungry for that Champions League spot, and it would be an amazing thing to look at. And look, if Kang isn't happy with Maestra and Maestra doesn't do what he's supposed to do, then there's another Spanish coach waiting just there if you really want a Spanish coach. But we'll move swiftly into the Liga F. We'll talk about Logrono, the Barca's second team, basically. Another 3-0 win with the La Masia usual suspects doing the business. Vicky Lopez playing it to Caro. Yep. Caro to Carla Julia, which, I mean, if anyone saw that photo of Carla Julia, Clara Serrajordi, and Alexia Putellas, it's like the Spider-Men just looking at each other. It's 3 of the same girl. Is Carla Julia just Alexia's, like, youngest child? Clone. Like, yeah, basically. But the run off the back post, the intuition, it's just Carla and the tech of Vicky. It's just too easy. And then 2-0. Sydney Shirton-Lee playing to Vicky, and then the control to set up Kika in that cruise control flow state that we love to see her in. We just want to see her in that state all the time against the best teams. And then 3-0 for Caro across the box, takes on a few plays. I think this was a very, very solid Caro performance. As I was going to say,
it's a very Caro goal, really. I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was all the ball across. It should have been dangerous, but Vicky did finish off the goal. But it was 29 shots to 1 with 85% possession. Yeah. I mean, like, this is just cruel football, like, dangerous. Like, you're gonna have to tell your, like, kids about, like, it's the 90. Do you ever watch a 90-minute, like Woso will balance out in our lifetime in the future, and like we'll be looking at Barca winning games like 3-0 at some point, and it'll be like 62% possession. Then you have to tell your, like, descendants. Like, I used to watch games where Barca had the ball for 87 minutes of a 98-minute game. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's just absurd amounts of dominance that needs to be balanced out at some point, but we don't know when and we don't know how. But all we know is that you can take away the money out of Barca, but you can't take away the La Masia. It's just too easy for them. Real Madrid went up against Espanyol. The return of the Comendador, my goat, the Liga F, Michelle Heyman, if you ask me. Like, the trim is just. It's
going to be some sort of hate crime.
No. It's absolutely not, because she balls out like she's the next Caicedo. She just looks like Michelle Heyman with the bleached hair trim, but. A 3-0 win for Madrid at home against Espanyol. They struck early. Ping from Athenea to the Signa Brune smash. No safety, top bins. Signa doing the business in the league because that's what she does. But Athenea, ADC, basically playing nearly every game at this point. I can't believe she was benched at the start of this year. But she doubled the lead in the 18th minute to make it 2-0. It's just too easy. The outside of the football from Comendador to Angadal, who strikes the keeper's gloves, and then Athenea gets the rebound, and then Sarah Homeguard sealing the result on the hour with Signa Brune's assist. I think this was just a really easy performance, just too good. I don't know, is there any other moments of this game you want to talk about?
I think that this is a game that pretty much shows us what kind of form they're trying to get in the league versus, in the Champions League. I think that if they can get 3-0 wins against pretty decent sides in the Liga F, not necessarily playing their first team, then that means that they can also focus on the Champions League and whatever other competitions they're still in. I don't even think they are in any more competitions, but I think this is a really good, and we talked about this before, having players that aren't your starting 11 and having a good backup team. And I think Real Madrid have never really had Yeah, I don't think Real Madrid have ever really had a really good B side to their A side. And I think that if they can get, as I said, good performances against solid Liga F teams playing their B side, it gives confidence to the coach, it gives confidence to the B team, but it rests the A team to go into the Champions League.
And I mean, if they end up finishing the job off against Paris FC, they have two more El Clasicos to deal with in the Champions League. And I know it's dangerous. I know it's so dangerous precedent. But look, we know anything can happen in the Champions League, and I hope they come with a different attitude, wipe off the 2-3 games that have happened so far, and do something. But I forgot to mention in this game the disallowed goal for Espanyol, where she kicks the ball. I don't know how this ball has ended up in the net, but she's kicked it like from the line. It's gone over Misa's head and then like bounce, like it's spun. Like
this was the best
that was
disallowed
crazy.
goal I've ever seen in my life. Now, I don't
That's
actually
fair
think
enough.
it should have been disallowed, and I
Yeah, it's
genuinely
robbed.
believe this.
It's straight up
Both
robbed.
both because I actually don't think it was out, but second, like for the love of the game, please just have that. Just keep that in. Like, what's
Yeah.
the point? They're already what 2-0, 3-0 up at this point. Like, just let them
Leggy,
have
it's
the most
obvious,
awesome
but it's
goal.
obvious, Leggy. It's VAR Madrid. Like, it's
Of course,
obviously
of
Woso
course.
VAR Madrid is alive and well. Did you see Espanyol's manager got a yellow?
Yes,
She-
no,
Sarah,
yes.
Sarah
I would have
Monfort.
too.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
was screaming at the ref.
I would
The
have
ref,
too.
obviously, RFEF stands for the Real False Equity Foundation. Like, absolute sus rubbish. But also, we forgot to mention, with Signa Brune's header for the assist. That is her first assist in the league since March last year. She, other than last year where she balled out and got 11 assists, she averages 2 assists a season. So we've seen a rare finding sight of Signa Brune getting a header,
Isn't
a
that
headed
common?
assist.
Isn't that common? They're not rare because it's common that she is only getting a couple assists a
Okay,
season.
well, we'll see
And
if she gets it. We'll see if she gets another one or two because I'd love to see. I'd love to see it. But I mean, it was just a great performance. Shout out to Athenea, probably man of the match. Smart from Casada to bring her off in the 45th with 2 goal contributions. Just
yeah.
class to get her arrested for Champo. Sociedad, who also got a win. Ezeguirre returns, my bench warmer goat. I love watching Sociedad play. Arturo Ruiz's speed of attack is just so good. The goal for Lavoguez, just the speed at which they had. The strike is good. The rebound from Lavoguez is great. She also nearly crossed the ball into the goal like Fionn Morgan did, but it hit the post. And there was a disallowed goal for crowding the keeper on Levante Badalona's goalkeeper, which is a bit silly. But Ezeguirre, again, the 96th minute off the bench. The Liga F Signa Gobset, I'm calling her. But she actually scores goals. Rips the ball low and hard near post to seal the deal in a great win. Only one game, 3 points behind Madrid. It'll be an interesting precedent to see if they can do it. But Arturo Ruiz is 28 years old. He came through at Atletico Madrid and is now solidifying what will be an unbelievable campaign. They're currently 8 points ahead of UD Tenerife and 10 points ahead of Atletico for UCLW qualifications. So shout out to him. I hope they get it done. I'd love them to finish third because they play such scintillating football in comparison to Atletico Madrid, who, yes, did get their first win in a while in the Liga F, but God, this was a shambles institution. Like Levante, I feel bad for them because I mean the goal was scored by Lloris. When your centre back's getting the only goal, like it's just poor. It's so sad. There was mayhem in the corner for 7th minute, and then Silvia Lloris just. I don't know, the goalie had it, dropped it, it's poor keeping, it's all very sad. I don't know what I have to, there's not much to say. I mean, Gallardo did have a good save against Velasco, but that was about it. I think there was 2 1v1s missed by Athletic at the later on in the game.
These shots, and you put in the notes, like Luwani, I think that there's one where Kat Cool, she passes it through to Jensen. It's a bit on an angle, so like I kind of didn't expect it to be a goal if we're thinking about just how hard it is to score from that angle 1v1. But the Luwani through ball from Giordo and the 1v1, if anyone's seen this game, they should definitely see this game. But like it was a run onto the ball, 1v1, she centers herself, so it was basically like the whole goal that she could go through. She then does a sole of the foot roll over, kind of stopping mid movement, meaning that the Levante defense could come back. I mean, the goalkeeper got a bit of a touch on the ball as well. It was a complete shambles. You said that Luani from earlier in the season scores this easily. I agree. I just think that this whole
Baiana
team...
was not playing while that ball was there was no Yoga Bonito in this moment whatsoever. It was like very depressing to watch a Jonas Bonito at this point. But
Atleti have completely shot their confidence, I think.
It's crazy. Like a Brazilian doing that 1v1 is just not okay. I'm sorry. And for Luani as well. I know she probably holds herself to a very high standard, so it's very disappointing for her to play to this level, and I hope she can get out of that form, especially next year for a home tournament with the World Cup. She should probably be starting. I think there's an argument that on form Luani starts and Carolyn starts, and I don't know if it's Jace or Borges or Gio up front. I don't know what the plan is for Brazil, but I mean, I think Luani has to be in the process of starting because that home tournament's going to be huge. And I mean, if I don't think Marta's going to be there. I think Marta's
going to be there. You crazy?
No. I mean, but she said the last one was her last World Cup, so I don't know. She's just going to play. She's just going to play till she dies, I guess. But I mean, she can just be there for vibes. She'd just play her as the sole 9, I guess. But we will swiftly move on to the Bundes as we had Bayern back. Bayern doing the things they do. I mean, they had 2 games. We'll start with the first one, the Freiburg game, the 4-1 victory, too easy. I mean, this game is a crazy result considering how Freiburg started this season and the disrespect that Bayern gave them because Pedersen was inverting into the centre half. Like they were having corners where Pedersen would go up for the corner, the ball would get cleared out, and Pedersen would just stay up because they knew they'd get the ball back. And then Damnjanovic tried to set her up. She nearly scored it as well, but Pernille Harder ends up opening the scoring in the 27th minute with a close range finish after great play from Gwyn to beat the defender, run the ball up the pitch, then feed the ball to Linda Dahlmann, who gets that ball across the box. Very well done. And then Freiburg equalised, which was a very good rebound goal. I don't know what Marmutovic... I feel like Marmutovic could have saved this because the speed of the rebound was like weird because it was bouncing and slow and wobbly, but I'll give Marmutovic the benefit of the doubt. She hadn't really had a shot or any sort of adverse moments in this game. Like it was a bit of a against the run of play kind of vibe, but then the second half, look, they just did the business. Harder's 100th Bundesliga goal. I mean, this girl she can just do it all. She can play in the 10, she can play in the 9. She's just like the more polished version of every striker we see that's in the Bundes. She's just the most complete player in the Bundes in some ways. Edna Imade off the bench for Clara Bull, by the way. Clara Bull coming off and then Imade coming on, and she makes it 3-1 in the 70th minute with a really good strike. Jesus, low and hard, and that's what they were missing. That's exactly why they brought her back, because not many other players can do that for Bayern. Like, it's just a different archetype of player that does the business. And then Linda Dahlmann finishes off the game in the 79th minute, assisted by Julia Gwyn again. Stanway's ball to Gwyn, though, is immense. And bobbles it down to Dahlmann for the winner. But they are 13 straight wins. Well, it's actually 14 straight wins, because then they played Carl Zeiss and beat them 6-0 in Imade's first start for Bayern. But Damnjanovic was just magnificent. Barkala, I just got to give him the respect for Barkala. Ball is so beautiful. The edge of the box, low, soft, wobbly strike for the first goal for Damnjanovic isn't really the talk of the town, but the second goal where DJ starts it, DJ plays it to Stanway, Stanway plays it in this triangle, back to Dahlmann, back to DJ, and then her first touch kills the first defender, fakes the shot, Hezzy's the second defender, makes space for herself, and then strikes the ball near post. Goalie doesn't move, hits it low hard in the bottom left corner. It's just perfect forward craft. And because she's not so fast, she's not so strong, she's just football IQ. It's why I love Damnjanovic so much. I think she's so talented. But then we had Pernille, who plays it to Tanikawa for this weird side foot strike into the top left corner, post and in. And then Simon had a really good game, had a brace of assists, who plays the ball. She was inverting centrally. I don't know why, but it's because she was playing the ball to Harder, and then Stanway. Like, Stanway just waves her off. Like, Harder was there, and Stanway just goes, nah, this is mine. And when you do that, you have to score. And she was on this tight angle, pings the ball to the bottom left corner, posting in as well. Just some of the goals they were scoring this game, which it was like FIFA Street styling on them. The fifth goal was Harder from another Simon cross on the left side this time, so she's got that versatility. Armani gives away a new penalty. She's the new signing from Tenerife in her second cameo for Bayern, gives away a penalty, but Gora, the penalty taker, hits the post for the consolation goal for Carl Zeiss, which is very sad.
So many missed penalties this weekend in the Bundes.
Yeah, it's disgrace. But Imade on the sheet for the sixth goal. Dunst, also a very interesting player to look at across the season. I wonder where she will end up going, or if she'll stay at Bayern, but she's crossed the ball. And Imade, this is the classic Imade goal. The header, just the towering presence of her. I know Pernille Harder can do the headers, but this is a different size and stature of header up. But this is Bayern just being perfect. 10 goals, 1 conceded in 2 games. It's just too easy. Frankfurt v Leverkusen. Obviously, Frankfurt winning 1-0 with a Blomqvist winner. But what did you think of this game?
This game to me was a perfect example of kind of the middling table of the Bundes. I think that there are some really good moments in this game, and I think you have to give a shout out to those moments. And I'm looking at the goals. I'm looking at how efficient I believe Frankfurt and Leverkusen tried to be. I think that the fact that the game ended in a way that, to me, was not necessarily how it should have ended. I really think that Frankfurt should have won this game. I just think we're looking at a player here, and I think that it's pretty obvious that Freigang is not at the same level that she has been in a while. I think we're looking at a player who has only got 4 goals, 1 assist in 15 games.
And she could have had a hat-trick today. That could have been a hat-trick.
And it was
easily
insane. And last year she had 14 goals and 5 assists. And I don't know if this is unlucky, if this is genuine form dip, but 4 or 3 1v1s is insane to miss all of them in the worst fashion possible, hitting posts, spraying wide. Like, this is a player that just looks completely out of form, and it has impact on the team. This is now a team that is looking to her. She's a captain as well.
Leggy, it's God's plan. It's God's plan for Laura Freigang.
It's not God's plan. She's not the God believer. That's what's her name?
No, I know it's Hoffman. But
yeah.
But I just believe that Freigang will play herself into form. Like, she will do it.
I just don't think so. I really
that
don't
last
think
one,
so.
that last third 1v1 to hit both posts. That is God's plan right there. I'm sorry. Like how can you hit both posts with 1 strike? Like if you're playing a woodwork challenge and you complete the woodwork challenge in two strikes, you're doing something crazy. But I mean, I think
Shout out to Blomqvist.
Yeah, Blomqvist.
Like, she's the one who scored the winning goal. Like, at the end of the day, they won 1-0.
Yeah, Leverkusen need to go to the West Ham school of clearing the ball, people. Like this is a terrible moment where Anyomi clears the ball, like gets the ball at the back post. It's poorly cleared. It lands to the feet of Blomqvist. There are so many moments. Just yak the ball out. Like, Anyomi bodies the first opposition and was allowed to keep going. Just, it's so silly. There was a disallowed goal for Leverkusen, that foul in the box. I mean, yeah, that's crowding the keeper. Yeah, it's exactly right. Like, when you're relying on that, Fudalla did have moments, but just not enough, personally. We will go into the around the grounds, where we had Hoffenheim beating Nuremberg 3-0. Searchy had a pen back in the books. Too easy. They're scoring goals for fun at this point. They've had 12 in the last 5. There could have been more penalties. The first, they had 3 penalties in this game, and the first was saved. There was a red card. I mean, it was just a lot going on in this game. Anyone who wants to watch a really fun box office match in the Bundes, it's Hoff v Nuremberg this week. But the other game we usually talk about with Werder Bremen leading the line, the GOAT, that is Larissa Mulhouse versus VfL, was postponed. This is VfL's second game postponed, which the Frauen Bundesliga said played was due to unfit pitch conditions and severe weather. And Lurch did an interview after this game was postponed and spoke about this game that has been postponed and the other ones. And he talked about their load in March is going to be ridiculous for rescheduling and their break. And there's international break as well. The management for those players outside their current schedule, like we're not even talking about like what it means for Wolfsburg to try and get through the management, but the dangerousness of the players getting through this block. I don't even know what they're supposed to do. Like, it's so unfair for them in this Champions League playoff where they have to play two extra games due to the new like style and structure, plus the international break, plus it's 2 games to add on. I have no idea what the plan is here.
I don't know if this is accurate, but I believe that the men's team have played during this time. I don't know if that's at home or away.
It is correct. They did play.
I would love to think that, Wolfsburg, with an institution as big as their women's team, would allow for their women's team to play on the men's pitch if the women's ground is not accessible. Like, at some point, we have to be looking at, stadium equity and looking at how much we should encourage teams to, put their women's team on the main pitch, if you like. But I don't really know the situation going on with Wolfsburg and what's happening with their second pitch, which is used for the women. But obviously it's not good enough. It's not good enough for a team that is, won Champions League.
Institution.
Is in the Champions League. It's an institution. And I don't know whether this is the fault of the club or whether this is the fault of the contract that is negotiated through the federation. But if this is to do with the federation, I can kind of understand why these teams do not want to stay in the German federation for much longer, because they're kind of been, given a terrible draw.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people I've seen complaining online about like Arsenal's men's pitch conditions due to the 3 games that Arsenal women's have played there, which is ridiculous. And I just think there's a very easy solution. You just do curtain raisers. You play them together. You'll get more fans at the games. You'll get more people going together. It's a very easy fix. I don't know why it hasn't even been an option for Arsenal fans to do that. I think it'd be really good, but obviously that creates its own fire because of the quality of the amount of the population of people you get to games. But I think
no, it's not even just that. It's not even just that. The Premier League and Arsenal have a specific recommendation and requirement for pitches, and at this point, we're not really reaching that. But to me, there is no reason why. I mean, we're not,
No, it's the weather. It's the weather. It's literally been raining. It's been raining like all of February, or all of January, like all of 2026. I mean, it's been raining since the dawn of time in North London. But ultimately, I think VFL should be doing curtain raisers. There's no question about that, and see how they can do that and bunch up some of the tickets. Especially like if you have a season ticket, you should be allowed to go to women's games beforehand. But we will move quickly into the Arkema PSG versus Paris FC, a Parisian derby, as PSG had all the bragging rights in this game with a 3-0 victory. I mean, the Kanjinga's goal, assisted by Rome Lukta. Sonia, where you at? This is the signing you should have had. What a header. This is a thumping header. This is such a good goal. And the confidence for her to end up with a brace at the end of this, but Matteo only had a small half chance that went begging, and then the penalty goes down later with Alimbi getting taken down by Ndongala. Lukta doubles the lead from the penalty spot, and then Kanjinga gets her second in the 34th minute. It was basically 3.5 an hour. Samora, too easy for her. Just should have definitely gone to Chelsea. Like that should have been the move. And they're going to be regretting that now, because the second half was quieter, but PSG managed the game comfortably. No further goals, some substitutions, minor chances, but Paris were outclassed in that first half.
This is a team that is not in the Champions League anymore. Really, that's it. Paris FC did not rock up to this game because they knew that they couldn't afford it. Really, I mean, they.
Do you think it's not? They don't have a chance against Real Madrid.
It's not that they don't have a chance against Real Madrid. I think that they actually thought that they do have a chance against Real Madrid, and that's why they look. Now, do I think that it is equally important, given the position on the table, for them to be getting results? Yes, they haven't had a good second half of the season. They haven't started very well in the league, but I do think that at this point in time, it's how many games? 4 days before each game. I mean, you don't want someone like Matteo to get injured. You don't want your best players to overwork themselves in a derby that I mean, yeah, it's consequential, but PSG aren't even PSG are fifth. They're not
Yeah.
even in the conversation at toppling Paris. I mean, they're close,
Yeah.
but PSG have to do far more than Paris do to even get a glimpse of Champions League football next year.
Yeah, well, that result was big in getting them 1 point away from Paris FC and
Mm.
one game from Nantes in second place. But we're going to talk about the champions, the reigning champions, the perpetual champions of France very quickly. 4-0 against Saint Etienne. That means Timothy Chalamet is crying somewhere, but it's okay. Marie Antoinette Katoto could have made it about 9-0, but just refused to score. She had an XG in this game of 1.58 and only scored one, and it was a pretty low percentage chance. So there were a flurry of chances she had, but I will rescind my fraud allegations of Ben Yaya. She had the captain's armband on this game and was very impressive and broke the deadlock on the halftime whistle, basically, with that free kick. That was sublime, to be fair. I'm not gonna criticize anything, just that you're really good. Great strike, great goal. And then the floodgates opened. Sfava made it second with Benyaya and Diani combining on the right, feeding the ball across. Katoto had the third in the 71st minute because De Mornay sets her up on a platter. And then Diani seals it in the 93rd minute with a penalty because the defender, I don't know what she was doing, but she tried to chest it down and it hit her hand because Besho tried a bicycle kick and it was not off. But this is just the easiest game for Lyon. Clinical, relatively clinical, 19 shots to 1 by the end of the game with an 80-20 split. It's very Barcelona build. Fleury
Murgeois.
Murgeois.
I have been trying to find out how to pronounce this team.
It don't matter.
I have no idea.
It don't matter. They're in third, right? And they are playing the Arsenal Invincibles game right now since their Lyon loss at the end of last year. But they beat Lens 2-0. They're doing really well. They're above both Paris teams. Nantes, another draw, this time against Dijon, meaning their second place spot is in jeopardy very soon. So the Arkema is heating up for the place for second, but Lyon are starkly in front. As we slide into the Feminile, Roma beating Milan 1-0. Too easy. Let's be honest. I mean, they had so many offside goals ruled offside in this game.
Oh my God,
this was so ridiculous. 1-0 does not do the justice for the fact that I think Wiens was offside about 6 times.
6 times.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And it was Wiens Stenius at this point. But
yeah, Wiens Stenius.
but she had a great game, and then eventually, Van Doren gets dispossessed, falls over. She tackles someone and then gets a strike. That tackle, she just went straight through her body on.
Jesus,
I forgot who it was, but it was definitely a red card. And then the red card meant that Roma could finally capitalize, and it was Bergamaschi, the GOAT, Valentina Bergamaschi, who gets the best comms from the Serie A comms man. I love him so much. But Greggy plays the ball to him, and Roma just had 2 1v1 chances in the last 10 minutes of this game. Could have been more. I reckon this game could have been 4-5-0. But it was a comfortable win for Roma in the end, and they maintained their 5-point lead over the trailing cast, one of which being Juventus, who beat Como away from home. Chids did play well, but not well enough, and it was pretty comfortable for Como from the first 0 to 40, but then Carbonell receives the ball in the box, fires that left-footed shot, deflects off Como, and then the lob shot ends up in the back of the net, giving Kanzi's Juventus 1-0 lead going into the halftime break. And the game was kind of in Como's favour. They had so many chances, but then Leovalti just holding off, weathering the storm, probably player of the match in this game, and then eventually sets up the progressive ball work for Thomas, who whipped the ball into Krumbeigel to double Juve's lead. It was deserved because Godot's cross into Pinto, which was a goal, by the way, was denied as a foul in the build-up. Don't really know what happened there, but Pinto's volley was very nice. But this is a very, very good win, statement win for Juve again, keeping both Roma and Inter on their toes, making sure that if they slip up, they're ready to pounce back. But that's 3 wins in a row, I believe, 3 clean sheets in a row.
3 wins in a row with a clean sheet in the Serie A, and this hasn't been done since like December 2021. So that's pretty crazy. Nice. But Como, since their debut in the competition in 22-23, they've lost the most home games in Serie A.
Yeah,
so that's pretty crazy. They're 25, so that's pretty crazy.
They're competing, but they are a new side. They are a relatively new ownership structure in the way they play. Even their men's side is very similar, but I hope they do get better and they do learn from these games because they come up against different levels of opposition in the Femminile the same way that Inter do, but Inter batter everyone they come up against at this point. This time it was Fiorentina at home. They won 3-0. Tessa's offside goal is so nice, but shame. She chips the keeper, but deserved more. But it ended up being Magul who broke the deadlock from Vallert's cross. I mean, Tessa Vallert, 9th assist. She is definitely going for those Caro 2020 numbers right now. I wonder what her goal line will end up being at the end of the season. She is just too good. She is not just a 9. She is so creative, and I wonder if she'll take that into the Belgium national team because she was seen as that like soul 9, like killer striker. But I mean, the other 2 goals in this match come in the second half. 62nd minute, Buhega, who is now starting. Clearly, obviously, they are listening to the pod. Piovani is listening to the Benchwarmers. Because she scored in her start, perfect through ball from Schloch, beats Finkestrand, and then the 7, like it opens up the foot, Finesse with the right foot. What can't this Maltese wonder kid do? It is impressive. But then Polly did score the 3rd goal with less than 10 minutes after coming on to replace Buhega. So should have been a Tessa assist, but the touch on from Magul is perfect. So Magul ends up with the assist. But the question will be Polly versus Buhega. Who is the starter? I'm obviously Buhega pilled. I still think Polly has got talent and has got moments of match-winning quality. So Piovani does need to make a decision there. But Inter earned a penalty in the final minutes with a handball, and Tessa Vallert just sprays it wide. Poor Penn in an otherwise near-perfect season for her. I reckon she'll go 15 goals, 15 assists this season. Maybe
I was going to say... I think honestly, I think she'll have more assists than goals this season just because of how Inter is spreading out their goals. So I think Volhut right now is more of a distributor and also more of what I would say is more of a game winner or even a game starter in terms of just kicking on what you usually see now is 2-3 goal wins.
Yeah, 100%. And that keeps them in second place. They're 1 point ahead of Juve, 4 points ahead of Napoli, who've started to hit some form with their 3-1 win. But it's an exciting league. It's probably the tightest of the leagues in the Northern Hemisphere at the moment. But we're going to move to the Southern Hemisphere. The tightest league in the world exists.
The world.
The most equitable league that's ever existed, where second can be 9th in 1 week and 9th can be second the next week. But we're going to start with your lot's game, Melbourne Victory versus Newcastle. What did you think? Sakalis long shot in the 51st minute was crazy, playing the crossbar challenge from 34 yards. But the first half of this game was quite stinky until... the turn of the hour where the magic happens, as you would say.
I have no idea why Jeff Hopkins did not start our 2 super subs, basically Holly Furphy and Janchevsky. I have no idea why he didn't start them, whether it be because he wanted to change a little bit in the system, whether it because he wanted to rest these players. But I don't necessarily see Newcastle, really I don't see any team right now in the A-League as being, gettable because we've lost to worse teams. We've won against better teams. So
There's no safety in the dub.
There's no safety. And I think that's kind of the negative part of having such an equal league is that you can't really be swapping and changing your formation that much. And when, injuries like what we had a couple of weeks ago with Polisina happen and, she comes back into the fold and is playing exceptional football, what happens is that you need to kind of rejig your system, a system that is largely the same throughout the whole season. So I liked I thought that this game was very easily one of our more solid performances. Even if we conceded a goal, I thought that from 60 onwards, I thought that we looked very comfortable. I didn't necessarily think the first half was anything special, but I haven't necessarily thought our first halves in general have been special. We are more late bloomers in terms of the 90 minutes, and that proves in this game. I think Holly Furphy had an insane goal. I mean, her 82nd minute curling left foot strike.
Dare I say, dub Freya Godfrey. That was very, very much like a Freya Godfrey-esque strike. That left foot into that curl, into that far left corner. It's very, very, very nice. That goal on the hour, that Olympico goal is a disgrace to the Olympicos that have happened in the dub.
That's
time
an Olympico.
and time again. No, just because you score from the corner,
it's an
doesn't
Olympico.
mean
It's literally the definition of an Olympico.
It bounced.
It doesn't matter.
It's a shambles goal. It's a shambles goal. But what I will say that isn't shambles is Rihanna Policina is back, and you guys just seem to win games when she's back. And I think I'd love to see the stats on when she's not playing versus when she is, because
I'll tell you, we're shit when she's not there, and we're really okay when she is there. That's very easily said.
Very, very true. I don't need the stats. You just need the subjective,
the eye test,
the subjective emotional output that just happened right there. But I mean, the penalty's quite soft. I kind of felt bad.
Yeah, but they give these penalties. They give these penalties.
It is very dub-coded.
So
it is very dub-coded. Yeah. But shout out to Furphy. Great strike. Snapping your winless, 6-game losing or not winless streak that started at Christmas. And then now, I mean, the Jets result continues their poor patch of form. I mean, they just can't get their strikers going, really. I don't know.
They can't get anyone going. They've never gotten anyone going. That's the thing. They have no semblance of form.
Don't diss Melina Ayres. How dare you?
Melina Ayres rocks up once every 6 games at this point.
No. It's one in 4, but
okay, sorry.
But usually they beat us. They have some fluid moments of football. It's just they can't string them together, and that's what needs to happen. But a team that is stringing games together right now
out of nowhere
is the Western Sydney Wanderers. I don't know what's more impressive: Liverpool's like resurgence, which I kind of expected under Gazball, but Western Sydney
Wanderers
are just coated with like, this is ridiculous. I mean, I was scared that there was going to be an Olympico goal, but I had to worry about the fact that, I mean, the City football group is alive and well. We just do not like corners. And Mires, Keane, I mean, you can just all hang your heads up in shame for that corner. That was just disgraceful. I don't know how Keane has ended up bobbling that ball back into the net. But 48th minute, Stott's taking a pot shot from 40 yards. 50th minute, Ross Buchan's taken pot shot from 38 yards. Like Devon Jackson in the 73rd minute taking a shot from the corner of the box. Like, we're 1-0 down. We're trying to score actual Olympicos. Like fans who travel to Casey don't want to see Stoddy and Jackson and Ross Buchan taking these pearlers. Like, we want to see. I mean, we want to see Holly taking those, but we want to see Holly just getting the ball on the back foot, playing really nice football. But, I mean, Kong nearly made it 2-0. Luckily, Mires made a good save. Holly Mack had a good ball across, but Apostolakis arrives too late. Ross Buchan's ball across. Uchendu had to charge that ball, just didn't get there. But 21 shots, 2 on target, 1.16 XG is just a disgracia. There's nothing else to say. Shambles of chance creation. 8 shots blocked, 7 shots from outside the box, 0.14 XG on target. 0.14. That's a disgrace when you compare it to our Brisbane game, where, I mean, to be fair, I wanted death in the first 15 minutes because Stevenson turned into prime, like, Pyor. I don't know what happened, but Medwin plays it to Stevenson. She pings the ball into the net. Mires probably could do better, just make an attempt to save it, but I don't know. It was a pretty hard strike. But then Stevenson again. Mires, terrible mistake from the pass out the back. Hayashi presses really far forward and then gets Stevo her brace in 12 minutes. I thought this was going to be a bit of deja vu, but luckily, I mean, Stoddy, stop taking 40-yard long shots and start headering the ball at the back post, because that's what I want you to do in the 35th minute, and that was the goal. And then the equaliser in the 40th minute was when Briley Henry, my favourite fullback, plays it to Holly McNamara, my favourite player, striker in this team, just swings around the keeper, finishes near post, does what Holly does, and as soon as that goal went in, I was like, all right, we've done this. Like, this is the comeback is over. Like, we've completed it, and now we're going to ruin them. And then Macca runs the line, feeds it across to Briley Henry, who finishes it. So she returns the favour. It was 3-2, killed the soul really early on, 2 minutes into the second half. First goal for Briley Henry this season, which is also amazing. And then Devon Jackson eventually gets her goal as Aideen Keane amazingly gets the ball up the line, takes on a few defenders in the process. A bit of lack of control, but a bit of chaos merchant, which is what Aideen Keane is, and then forces the parry from the keeper to Jackson. And then Aideen gets her goal in the 81st minute. Too easy after the first shot was blocked. Second attempt catches out the goalie, and it's just too good. 4.34 XG on target compared to that 0.14, but 27 shots, 11 on target, only I think 5 or 6 shots from outside the box. So much better ratios, much better chance creation. Obviously Brisbane are a different team, but ultimately it shows that every day in the dub, every round in the dub is just another day. But I think that also ends our catch-up games. So we're finally up to date.
Yeah, you're all on 14.
Finally get our rests. We're 2 points ahead of the pack. I expected us to be a bit more, but also the load management is crazy for what's happened in the last 6 weeks. Wellington and Canberra are 2 points behind us with their wins over the weekend. Canberra beat Sydney, obviously. At Sydney's home.
Obviously, yes.
Obviously, Mackenzie Hawkesby, other than Mackenzie Hawkesby's long ball to Asen for the equaliser, it was Johnson's goal, getting the cartwheels out. Heyman got dragged back for that Dogzo. Fenton there was a defender there, but I feel like it is a red card. And Michelle Heyman has won 2 red cards in 2 weeks. Like, she's a genius. Like, just don't let her through. But then Stanek
Is she on the plane? She's on the plane.
She's probably on the plane. Sadly,
she's on the plane.
But the game's the game. She just has to be. Her experience is relatively needed. I don't think it is. We have Macca and Kerr, but I feel like Monty's going to probably play Heyman to close out games rather than McNamara, which I think is silly. But Stanek Floody outside the box again wins the game. Super sub of dreams, does it against her former side, but does miss a penalty after this. So not a perfect super sub performance, but could have been a man of the match performance off the bench, which is crazy. Looking at the league table is just stupid because everything can change with one game. This is just so crazy. Western Sydney Wanderers, the form side, sitting second from the bottom. It's just
well,
insane.
no, I would say the form side right now would probably be Wellington.
Adelaide as well. Adelaide have been
Wellington's won 4 games in a row.
Yeah.
So I predicted an internal prediction between me and myself that I thought that Wellington were going to have an incredible year this year, just given the fact that even though we may not like it, Brev Priestman is a winner. She's a class winner. So.
Yeah,
I think,
and you can clearly see that the style of football has changed. Yeah, exactly. They've adapted to it.
The best. Really, you all have struggle playing out from the back. Wellington, the only real struggle they had is conceding a couple of crappy goals, and I think outside of that, I think that they have arguably the best style of football in the league.
It's made me shocked that Bev was even an international manager. Like, if she was given this much time with the players, why would you do international management in that way? I understand it's prestigious, but you can clearly see the style of football she's changed, the way Woods plays. It's just all catered around that high press, being able to not ship too many goals. It's very comprehensive performances, and I'm very impressed with the Knicks, and they're everyone's second favourite team because they're
from New Zealand.
The Kiwi masterclasses.
You just don't feel bad for
exactly. If your team goes out, root for the visitors. But we will end our Woso around the grounds and move into the awards, the Benchwarmers Awards. Who do you have as your never bench again?
My never bench again is Nuskin. I think this is pretty obvious. I think that if you come back after only
you just pick Chelsea and United players. Do you know there are other clubs, leagues that exist? No, it's all right.
Unfortunately not, because I have to jinx as many of my local rivals. rivals as much as possible. But no, I mean, Nuskin 3 starts in 8 games or something like that this season in a possible, what,
Do you
14?
want her at
Like this,
Arsenal? Does she want the Arsenal?
I think a lot of players want the Arsenal. I think a lot of
But
players are wanting the Arsenal all of a
does
sudden.
Elon Musk
But
want the Arsenal?
but Nuskin to me is a player that needs to go back home. We've talked about this before. She
Yeah,
needs to go to
Bayern.
Bayern. She
Yeah,
just it's
Stanway
obvious.
replacement.
Stanway
Stanway
leaves, she
replacement.
comes in. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
But she had a great game against.
Korosek needs her to not go home. Korosek needs a home at the Bayern campus. But I was actually gonna say someone else for my never bench again, but I'm actually gonna change it to Sam Coffey. I think Sam Coffey
Really?
is gonna start now. I think this is the beginning. I'm so sorry to Blinkhilda Brown. I
So
think
quick to just flick Blinkhilda Brown off.
No, I'm not flicking her off. I'm just saying there's levels to this game, and City's midfield problems were solved by LBB, but there needs to be a level of confidence in the ability for us to progress the ball, and she was a passenger against Arsenal. And if we're playing Champions League, I think LBB will be a crucial cog next year when she has to deal with the league games and she has to run us through. And if we're playing, like, I don't know, if we're playing Ajax at this point, who are winning the Eredivisie at the moment, if we have to play them, then LBB should be schooling all over them. But I think Sam Coffey is the real deal. I think she's the one that it's going to be. As we all said when she came in, Coffey, Yui, Viv is 3 world-class midfielders playing together, and arguably the best midfield 3 in the league when they're put together. And I mean, you could easily make an argument for the Mariona, Little, Russo midfield, which is pretty sublime as well. But Chelsea can't get near that. Like, no other team in the league can get near our midfields, and there's a reason why we're the 2 comprehensively 1 and 2 at the moment. But my super sub of the week is a ×2 combo. She's going for a kill streak. It's Stanek Floody. At what point does she start? So I can't make her the super sub of the week, but she's just scoring worldies week after week. She's doing the business, winning points for Canberra. She's responsible for 6 points already. I think, actually, no, 9. She's responsible for 9 points. I wonder if there's many players else in the league that are responsible for 9 points off the bench. And I even in Europe, I don't think there's that many. I mean, even Stina and Pina wouldn't be near that, because I mean, and they're the super sub goats. Like, they're the Mount Rushmore of super subs. But Stanek Floody, shout out. Who's your super sub of the week?
Janchevsky and Furphy, so a bit of a double super sub. I think I just have to give them to the fact that one scored the opener, one scored the winner. If it weren't for them coming on, then I don't necessarily think we would have gotten a result. Just 3 points at least, I think we probably would have drawn. But I think that just bringing them on it wasn't genius from Jeff Hopkins, because he should have started with them, but it was the right time, and they're the players that played incredibly when they came on.
Yeah, I mean, we both chose our super subs from the dub. It's the super sub dub week. Yeah. But am I come on the pod? I mean, we already discussed this. Laura Freigang, you just got to score. Like, I think she'll bring it back, but 3 one-on-ones, you can't really do much worse to not come on the pod there. But yeah, I don't really want to harp on about it, because she knows she's come on the pod this week. It's okay. But we will move to yours. Who's your come on the pod?
My come on the pod is a bit of a, how can I get this conversation into the podcast without it being completely out of nowhere? It's basically, I want Eni Aluko to come on our podcast rather than go on.
I would love Eni on our podcast.
I want her to come on our podcast rather than going on Talk Sport, where she gets absolutely mansplained for 40 minutes.
So
that was the worst.
We love Eni Aluko. She's a Chelsea player, but we don't mind her. She's fine. We'd have a great conversation with her.
She's a baller. What she's done post career has been exceptional. Como, LA, Bristol, these are teams that she's taken under her wing and propelled.
Ultimate journey woman.
But in my opinion, there is absolutely no reason why there is a debate surrounding one person's quite little private discussions with another person, and how that has been put into the open for everyone to debate on is really does not feel right for me. I can understand that there is genuine debate when it comes to panelists and when it comes to pundits and how we distribute the load, especially when we want to create a more diverse and equitable panel and voice that goes with football. But I also can understand that you are disrespecting a legend in the game on both sides. We're disrespecting Ian Wright and what he's done for the women's game and what he's done as a player and as a pundit. And we're disrespecting Eni Aluko for what she's done as a women's player and a women's football pundit for 11 years. And she said that she didn't want to do it anymore. I don't think that that's a terrible thing just because of how much hate she gets. But in this kind of like last week of like the kind of the worst things that you could say to another person, it's been terrible. And I think it's not been fair.
But I was even gonna like I hate talking about it from a like a meritocracy point of view. Like my issue is like you can have your vested opinions the same way Eni Aluko does. Anyone who's an armchair expert or ex-pro can go on. It's very easy to be a pundit. I'm sorry, it's not that difficult. Like I think Nedum Onua is an amazing pundit. I think he's really good. I didn't like the way that Eni spoke about him as if, he didn't play for England, he didn't play in a final, so where's his experience? I'm sorry, but like the only issue I have with Eni Aluko, you're allowed to say whatever you want. I respect for what you have done in the game. You actually have amazing things to say about women's football, but if you're going to judge the ability of a pundit based on how many games they play or where they played or what level of football they played, then what's the point? What's the point of us having a podcast? What's the point of people caring about women's football if you're going to isolate people who care about the game and say, Eni Aluko thinks she's probably a better pundit than we are because we never played at the top level. Just because you're the top level doesn't give you the right to say that you're better at punditry, because people go and do degrees in media. People go degrees in sport journalism because that's what you have to do to get media licensing, because ex-pros found a new revenue stream to be able to make money after the sport because they want to use their knowledge and their vocabulary for the good of the game. And I respect Eni Aluko for that. I respect Farrell Williams doing that, and Kelly Smith and Ellen White and all the crews that have done it. Doesn't mean that they're good at it. Doesn't mean that they're amazing at it. But they're good at it. But it doesn't mean that the players who've played 150 caps for England and have won awards and won trophies are better than the ones who've played 30 games, are better than the ones who haven't played any games, because there are very good pundits out there that don't play many games, and there are very good journalists who are able to talk about the sport in ways that you can't without the levels of experience in the game that you have. But that's just my opinion.
I think instead of cutting people down, I think we should be expanding punditry.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think we should be expanding punditry. I've never in my life thought that there should be a quota or there should be a limit on how many people can talk about a game. It is a final of a Euros, and they're having three pundits on each distributor of the broadcast in England.
It's not enough.
It's not enough. And what we see in the men's game is an array of people. Like the fact that there is a fan forum, the fact that there is an ability for ex-pros, for referees, for ex-managers to come on and have their say is a testament to how much the game has grown in accessibility. The women's game being the pinnacle of accessibility, I mean, it's open for everyone to contribute, should also equal that. I have my own opinion about why Emma Hayes shouldn't have been on the punditry panel for a conflict of interest reason, but that doesn't disallow her opinion. I think that she should, as Farrell Williams, they should all have their opinion, and that doesn't negate the fact that we should also be allowing and making these opinions more accessible.
But I just think I mean I agree with that 100%, but I don't think we should be gatekeeping punditry to just ex-players.
Agree.
Yeah, like if we go to the Women's World Cup in 2027, which is, I mean, spoiler for anyone out there, that's the goal for us, is to be at the Women's World Cup. If we get a media accreditation, regardless or not, we'll still be there. But the fact that the fact that every sporting event has gatekeeped content to be able, independent fans who love the game, who want to film or want to get more visibility to a game that is relatively invisible, the hoops and the hoops and the barriers that I've had to jump through to get up to date on Woso this week, but while being in America, is ridiculous based on the lack of visibility. That to watch all the leagues that we watch, to watch anything we have to get, it's 5 different streams, 5 different companies, all with their own respective free trial options that I took advantage of. But ultimately, I shouldn't have to download CBS and Paramount and Stan and Disney and ESPN Plus to watch every game that I want to watch. And that is ridiculous. So when we're talking about the top games and the visibility that it needs, if we, the Benchwarmers, want to rock up to the World Cup in 27, we've got to be able to do the business. We've got to be able to show our visibility to the audience that we're in Brazil, we're going to games, and whether it's with a DSLR camera that we bring and they don't let us into the stadium, fine, sure, but it'll just be an iPhone with the same level of quality, just in an iPhone, right? And that's just what happens. But ultimately, it's an interesting conversation that's been taken a lot out of context in ways, and I get that Eni rubs people the wrong way. I actually think she should use that to her advantage, to be honest, because that's I mean, in some ways is genius. I mean, look at the levels of visibility that she can get if she just channels that into what she wants. I mean, like, okay, I can take the piss out of her, like thinking Jude Bellingham's the best player of all time. That's fun. That's all just like she's great, and she's from Birmingham, amazing. But like, I want her as a pundit. I want her to stick around. She's good for the sport. She's good for Woso. I just don't want to meet her and her think, oh, well, you're a podcaster who helps coach in Australia. So what do you know about football? Because I mean, I've been following the game for a long enough time to know about the game and know about players that are coming up. But I know she follows the game to a different extent. I don't know how much. Like, again, I'm not going to hold that against her. I'm not going to go to Eni Aluko and be like, how much have you watched of Kaja Korosek? Like, that's not what I'm here to say. What I'm saying is that there are other people in other positions that have different qualities to be able to present the sport in different ways. And I think Eni Aluko has a unique and vocal perspective that I really like, but there are people who have wider breadth in the game, and I think they should be utilized in that way, and there should be a space for all of them. And the fact that we can't open up the doors in the way that Woso should be able to keeps Woso at a level that we don't like. Like, we want Woso to be as big as possible, as prosperous as possible. But we can do a little bit of a transfer segment now. I think the main talking points are basically Macario. Macario deciding she wants out, like she's done, and that's pretty fair at this point. I don't think that's a bad call at all. I think she needs to go. She needs to get minutes. And if Barcelona come knocking, when do you say no? Like, that is a ridiculous call. I actually think she'd be really good at Barcelona. I think she'd suit the style of play. I think she'd be able to nick goals late on in games if she comes on. I think she's the real deal. And I think if it goes through, firstly, it'll be a big signing. And also, like, low key, I know this sounds crazy, but she could win them a Champions League final on her own boot. She actually could.
I think that there has to be some discussion about how Macario has adapted her style of football. I think that there also has to be a bit of a recognition that her and Sonia have a very interesting relationship, and I think that should probably be taken into consideration when we're looking at her professionalism and how she's gone about the transition from Emma Hayes Ball to Sonia Ball. I think
and the re-signing of Sonia as well,
exactly,
for the 2030.
And I think that there has to be some there is a degree of hesitancy that I have with her going to Barcelona, simply because she is very injury prone. I don't necessarily think she plays their style of football, and I don't actually think that that's the position that they need to fill. If anything, they need to be available centre half, flanks, like wing backs. I'm talking. I think there also needs to be an understanding that Kat Macario probably wants to be in good form for next year's World Cup. I don't necessarily think that the NWSL will offer that to her, especially as she's been playing in Europe for such a long time. And I would really like to see her kind of move away from either the French or the English system and go somewhere like Spain. When I saw Barcelona was an option, I didn't believe it. I thought it was crazy. But if that's the move that she can go to, then that would be an incredible step for her in just her own personal CV.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, I want her to do well. I think she's a very likable footballer. I think she plays beautiful football. And the moments where I've seen international breaks for the US women's national team, she's the real deal. Like, she's the one who's getting the goals in the net. But there's the only other few players I want to talk about. One is Samora. Samora from PSG is, I mean, there's a free at the end of the season. Arsenal are in for her. LCL are in for her. West Ham are in for her. And your lot. Like she's good, she's young, she's hungry. Do you really need a centre half? I don't think so. I could see her
if we're getting rid of Casino,
I think she's a Tottenham.
Yes.
I think she's a Tottenham pilled.
No,
player.
Tottenham have signed so many players. They're not signing any more players for like 3 years. They've like overblown their measly budget.
Find out if they're trying to be a serious institution. You've got to get youngsters that are going to be developed. But I mean, the big moves this week. I mean, they're both NWSL moves, really. We'll start with, which one do you want to start with?
Croy Bethune, I mean, that's insane to me. This is an incredible player, young player that has absolutely broken into the ranks of Washington Spirit, has incredible chemistry and connection with players like Trinity Rodman, and that whole kind of front line is built around how Croy Bethune
fuming. Kang is fuming.
And I don't think Kang is fuming. I don't really think Kang is fuming.
You think she's Rodman stayed,
I think she's orchestrated this to get Claire Hutton in because they need stability rather than acceleration and speed that they can get elsewhere and they can get from the signings that they've already had.
Yeah, what do you think of this Hutton move? Is she the player? Is she the player that you think?
She's the player. She's the player that I think. I think she's a US international. I think she's one of the players that I have actually been able to think kind of like Sam Coffey as being able to transcend WSL football.
This is a high impact player, correct? She was a player that she was a team of the season last year, I believe. Very like young star, has a lot of ability to progress the ball. I have seen her highlights. I mean, it'll be interesting. I mean, Hutton in the Bay, really. I mean, it's just crazy move. $1.1 million. It's a crazy move. Historic. It's the highest intra-club transfer in the NWSL. I don't know. I think Bethune is a great move. I think current need a different look. I think they're gonna be something. There's gonna be something there. I do like watching her play as well. I think Bethune is a really exciting player to watch and to see what she does in a different team that isn't Kang-pilled and a team that did convincingly win the NWSL last year, was miserly at the back. If they can keep going, I mean, I know Angel City have had their investment, and I mean they're gonna push a little bit further up the table, but I don't think it's going to be the same. But if I'm current Patrick Mahomes, man, you got to be very happy with the fact that your team has got a loud and proud striker, and then the Bay FC. I mean, if they hold their cards, I mean, all their minority investors will be very happy as well. But that is all we have for the transfers this week as we move into a very quick rendition of what would Kang do number 23. I mean, this is just going to be a little bit of Kang improvisation, or Kang-provisation, as I should say. But this week, I mean, the idea I had was based on watching the LCL game this week. I mean, a shambles of a game, to be honest. I mean, I don't really know why Kang has gone to this one instead of going to Lyon, who are schmising teams left, right, and centre.
She gets bored. She gets bored.
She gets bored of success. I mean, that's a very interesting thing to have as a business human being. But to watch your team lose to Everton away from home. I mean, I lose to Everton when Everton have gone away and won, and they pan the camera to Michelle, and she starts yawning. She was yawning, which is, I mean, Ede Maestra, what do you got to say if you're
what have you got yourself
God?
Into?
Yeah, if you're GOAT, the only reason you have a job is yawning in front of you. But what I was thinking about is basically what are the three, like if she's tired, right? So your tiredness comes from fatigue and the idea that you could be doing something more stimulating. The idea that okay, like obviously you could want to go to bed. That's one part of it. But what basically I wanted to think, like, what would Kang not? It's not what would Kang do it this week. It's what would Kang rather be doing right now this week. Yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, what would Kang rather be doing right now than watching her team get packed in by an interim coach and the institution that is Claire Wheeler. But like I just don't really know what to say here. So like one of the things I think she'd rather be doing is ultimately, like, I mean, firstly, Lyon. Obviously, being at a Lyon game, watching Marie Antoinette Katoto fluff chance after chance after chance is one option. But is there another option? Is there another thing that she could be doing? Could she be in her private jet flying back, getting ready for the NWSL, for the Spirit to start off the new season? We're a month out. She could be hanging out with new millionaire, like the new Woso millionaire that is Trinity Rodman, chilling away. I just think there's so much more that she could be doing right now than watching an institutional failure in LCL at the moment.
I think that she could be kind of scouting out the opposition's hunting ground. So I'm thinking of going to the Super Bowl, going to the basketball. Obviously, investors have come from these sports. So I'm thinking of KC's investor. I'm thinking of Magic Johnson as well. I'm thinking about all these people.
Magic,
and I'm thinking,
I just saw Magic Johnson. I was literally like 10, 15 minutes away, like 10, 15 meters away from Magic Johnson at the Staples Center. But I mean, she needs a bit of magic for her team. But I think she should be scouting out the other team. Like, let's forget about LCL at this point. Let's think about who they can scoop up from Everton. I mean, they signed an under 29-year-old for my point, but then they've just got rid of Croy Bethune, so they've got rid of one 29-year-old. So maybe they wanted to go older, right? So like
29-year-old, she's like 19.
What?
Bethune's like 19.
No. I'm saying they got rid of an under 29-year-old. I'm saying like they signed a under 29-year-old to LCL, which is the key, right? But they didn't sign any more. I said for the Kang wish list that she's got to sign someone under the age of 29. But I mean, at this point, she's going back to her old ways, getting rid of the 21-year-olds, and you need older players. But I mean, all of Everton's side is basically below the age of 29, bar Courtney Brosnan. And I think that is the main thing that Kang was doing. She was thinking to herself, why can't we switch the goalkeepers of the teams mid-game? Because Courtney Brosnan absolutely saved Everton in that game. And I think that's probably the big moment, is that there's better things that she can be doing with her time and her energy, like buying the opposition or just scouting, having a reason to do something else that isn't just like mulling over her third child that isn't doing as well as when she got rid of the management of the third child. I mean, it's kind of just justice for Jocelyn Prashaw, but I mean, he is now one of the 4 managers that I know that are out of contract looking for a job. I mean, I don't know if Rhiannon Skinner is as in demand as Jocelyn Prashaw, but shout out to Jocelyn. I feel like he knows what Kang would do better than maybe we do in this current moment. But maybe he knows that Maestro will no longer be the Maestro of LCL if he keeps his form the way he keeps going. But that is all we really have for What Would Kang Do this week. And that's all we have for the podcast this week. Thank you very much for listening. We are on Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Full audio, visual podcasts on YouTube. Shout out to everyone who listens to us and watches us on TikTok. We're just around the grounds. We're here all the time, every week.
Every week?
Every week. Thank you very much. That was wacko
That was the longest week.
That was a long week. I was waiting for you to jump in there.
It's okay.
But,
we're 15 hours apart.
Yeah, it's all right. It's a delay. Yeah, it's a jet lag. But thank you very much for listening and have a great week.